So welcome everyone to Therapeutic Yoga on Thursdays, and we're moving into the upper back, neck, and shoulders. And we're also moving into the spiritual heart as well. All right, so just lying on your backs. And just finding your breath. You can just start with some belly breath if you like. Inhale into the belly. Exhale, draw the belly in and make a ha sound. You can have the legs bent or straight, your choice, whatever feels better for you. I'm going to straighten mine. Inhale. And exhale, make that ha sound. So part of working with the throat, the neck is working with the throat and sound. Inhale. And exhale, make that ha sound. Now adding some breath and movement. Inhale, arms at the sides. Let's start low. And exhale, hands to the belly. And you can keep your elbows in place as you do this. And then inhale, hands a little higher at elbow height. And exhale, hands in to maybe the stomach area. And then inhale, hands at shoulder height. The elbows stay still. Then just see if that's accessible for you. And exhale, hands down again to the belly. Let's try that again. Inhale, hands low, hip height. Exhale, hands to the belly, making that ha sound. Inhale, hands at elbow height. Just notice any differences between sides. Exhale, hands to the belly. So it's always sometimes surprising. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was tight. Inhale, hands at the shoulder height. And exhale, hands to the belly. Now let's add a humming sound as we do those three positions. Inhale at the hip height. Exhale to the belly. Inhale, elbow height. Inhale, shoulder height. One more time, we're going to add Om if you like. Inhale, hands hip height. Om. Inhale, elbow height. Om. Inhale, shoulder height. Bring your hands to your heart if it's comfortable for you, or if not, to your belly, if that feels better. Just make an intention to do with your heart, perhaps to do with loving kindness. So a simple one could be, may I be filled with loving kindness. And just notice if any image comes to mind with this intention. And breathing that into the body mind. When you're ready, moving to Potipidum Bridge, aligning your knees and your ankles, and perhaps putting a block or a pillow between the thighs. And in your own time, we're going to do those 3 positions of the arms as we inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Just play with that. You might like one of these positions more than the other, and I just invite you to keep to that 1 or 2 positions if you prefer. Just opening up the chest, the front body, and strengthening the back body. Just keep this going your own time in these 3 positions, low, medium, high, or just pick one of them that feels good, or 2. Just find your own practice. You've now been with the class for a while, so trying to make it your own practice. And try not to turn your head during this, as I just showed, that's actually not ideal for your neck. So just keep your eyes closed. And when it's comfortable, maybe staying in the pose in one of these positions. Find where your arms like to be. Your hands, are they shoulder height? Are they coming out of your elbows, or are they just straight and by your hips? Which one feels better for your neck and shoulders today? As you inhale, can you lift a little higher? Now, sometimes pressing the elbows into the ground can just help you get a little bit higher as you inhale, and then exhale, release. Ujjayi Pranayama, constricting the throat if you can, breathing just through the nose, not the mouth. And when you're ready, coming down, just rest for a moment. I'm just going into a restorative version of this pose with the block underneath the sacrum, or you can have a big pillow or bolster, that might feel better, or you can use a stack of these blocks or a couple of pillows. You might also want to put a belt on your thighs so that your legs, your hips feel even and can rest. And some of you might feel really good with a block and belt if you're quite unstable in the pelvis. So just pick your medicine. It's a restorative pose, and Mr. Iyengar, his name for this pose is Setu Bandhasana, slightly different name. Some of you might enjoy stretching out one leg. That doesn't work so well with the belt actually, but if you don't have a belt on, you can do that version, or even both legs. Both legs, you can do that with the belt. Just getting really comfortable, asking yourself, how can I make myself just 1% more comfortable? Just adjust till you find that sweet spot. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. And just breathing into it, stretching the whole front body. This is also stretching into the hip flexors, the psoas. Slowing down the breath. I am filled with loving kindness. I am filled with loving kindness. I am safe from all harm. I am safe from all harm. I am healthy, happy, and whole. I am healthy, happy, and whole. I am filled with endless joy. I am filled with endless joy. Just breathing in those affirmations. When you feel complete, starting to move the legs and the hips and removing whatever position you put yourself in to a neutral spine, removing the belt. You've got one. Just moving the body now dynamically. Inhale, coming up, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Exhale, knees to the chest. Just keep that going, just as a counter pose. Just keep that going. Just make sure you're all in. When that's complete, just moving into gentle windshield wipers. Jatra Paravrti, side to side. Inhale, center, exhale, side. If you'd like, you might want to turn the head away from the knees. As you exhale, inhale, head center, exhale, other side. Just be careful, shifting the back of the head away from your gaze. And you can also turn the same palm as your gaze down. That can also feel really good in the neck and shoulders, that variation. Can you make the breath a little bit longer than the movement, starting the breath before you start to move, still breathing at the end of the movement, pause, starting to breathe, then starting to move. Still breathing at the end of the movement, pause. When a thought arises, just going back to the focus on the breath, body coordination. And if it feels good, it might feel good to now stay on one side. So just pick your easy side, whatever that is for you. And we're going to focus on neck and shoulders as we do this. And just make sure you have enough room because we're going to play with moving the arms. So we're going to exhale, come to one side, inhale, open up to the center, knees center, and exhale, other side. Inhale, come back to the center, just going side to side, rolling. You let your knees come a little closer together as you go into that full twist. Some modification that I developed for neck and shoulders, just to stretch the back of the shoulder, posterior deltoid area. It's also wonderful for mid-back for many people, for tightness in that mid-back. And if you have a rotation in your spine due to scoliosis, it might just feel really good to de-rotate a side that's very rotated by going to the opposite side. So just notice there's one side that feels really good. And I invite you to even stay on one side and breathe there a little longer. There's a more intense version of this stretch, which I sometimes teach, but it's a bit intense. So this one's a little more gentle. You can just stay on that side and see how that feels in your shoulders. You could bring your knees together. I'm turning my head so I'm looking away from where my knees are. I'm turning on my forehead, looking a little bit the other direction. And then going to the other side, to the center, and exhale. And again, you want lots of room here. Your legs can be apart or knees together. Roll on that shoulder and just see how far feels comfortable, and can you turn your head so it's turning towards your shoulder, your bottom shoulder. Just notice how that feels. When you're ready, coming out. So in Krishnamacharya's yoga, we repeat and then stay in poses, and that was kind of his one of his primary teachings of the asanas, the movements. Just resting now for a moment. Notice how you feel. That can be a counter pose all by itself. I'm going to rest my knees towards each other. You could have them apart and just take a little rest here. Okay, so we've warmed up the neck a little bit. We're going to take it a bit further. So I'm going to straighten my legs. You can have the legs bent. It really doesn't matter. For some of you, you might remember this from standing poses. I've done this in my live classes. We can also do it supine, but you can do it standing. Inhale, arms coming up. Now you might have a bolster behind you that you bring your hands to, or you just don't take them as far, but nice to rest them on something. And having some room behind you to do this. And then exhale, bring one arm down and turn your head away from that top arm towards that bottom arm that's down. I have the palm facing up. And then I'm turning my head away from that top arm, just seeing how that feels in my neck and shoulders. So I'm going to adjust that top arm until the shoulder feels comfortable. It's just going to depend on your shoulder. Where do you feel that in your neck and your shoulder? Just adjust that top arm until it feels comfortable. And if it doesn't feel comfortable, come out of it. And when you're ready, untwist that head and bring both arms up. And we're going to do the other side. We're just going to stay a few breaths just to begin. Exhale, arm comes down, twisting the nose towards that lower hand away from the upper arm. And just one side might be quite different than the other. Try to bring the back of the head, so where my ponytail is, try to bring that part of your head, the crown and the back of the head, back towards the top arm so that you have better alignment from the top of your head down the spine all the way to your pelvic floor. Is one line. Breathing there. And then when you're ready, untwist. Start to inhale, arms up. You might want to check out your feet, see that they're straight. And exhale, arms down. And notice how you feel. That can be a big release. I'm just going to check out my feet because they tend to go off to one side. All right, there they are. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this one more time. Inhale, arms coming up. Tuck that chin in if you can. Now again, I might have a bolster behind me or a couple of pillows. Tuck your chin in. Now just stay here for a moment. Exhale, release the chin. Inhale, tuck the chin in. Press the back of the head into your mat or floor or carpet. Where do you feel that in your upper back? Exhale, release. Inhale, tuck the chin in as the chest rises. Hold. Press the back of the head into the floor and release as you exhale. One more time. Inhale, tuck the chin in. Press the back of the head into the floor. And release, bring the arms down. Then we're going to do that twisted movement again in a moment. Just rest. Legs can be straight or bent. If they're bent, you can put a bolster underneath if you like, if your hip flexors are getting tight. Let's try this again. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, taking one arm down and turning your head towards that lower hand. Back of the head towards the upper arm. Now we're going to try to move a little bit. As you exhale, see if you can twist a little bit more. Inhale, release. Exhale, try to twist a little bit more. Inhale, release that top arm. Again, adjust it so your shoulder's comfortable. If you've got an old injury, you might be feeling it, so just adjust things. In about 4 breaths. When you're ready, untwisting the head. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, other arm down. Twisting your nose towards that lower hand. Back of the head towards the upper arm. You might have a pillow, a block, or a blanket under your head. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. That's always the same in my classes in these supine practices. If your chin tends to pop up to the ceiling, do add that support. As we lie here, exhale, turning the head away from that top arm. Inhale, release. So the point is you want everything to be aligned before you twist. Exhale, twisting, turning. Inhale, release. Exhale, twisting, turning. Inhale, release, fourth time. Exhale. Inhale. And when you're ready, release the arms, relax, maybe bend the knees, angle the knees in. Just rest here for a moment. Probably feel quite a bit of energy in your upper back, neck and shoulders right now. We're going to flip onto our bellies and take it up a notch. So coming onto your bellies. Now, if this is not comfortable, you can put a pillow under your belly, a blanket, something, even a bolster. That's a little high for what we're doing today, but underneath where your bra line is, okay? And on your stomach. So yeah, not too high. Otherwise it won't be comfortable. So right under your stomach area and your hips. Okay, so we're just going to start with the hands in front. Now I'm going to bring my feet to the wall just to get a little bit more connection through my legs and lower back. That's an option. And you're going to inhale. I've got my elbows forward for this one, more in a Sphinx position. I'm going to inhale. I'm just going to lift up my chest. I'm also going to extend my legs, so I'm connecting through my lower back. I'm going to keep my chin slightly in, or some of you might be able to look slightly forward, but be careful. This can give certain people headaches, so just be really careful, especially for those of you who get migraines. Just be careful. Exhale, release. You could turn your head away as you exhale to one side. We've warmed it up, so that should be accessible. Inhale, lifting. Keep the chin slightly tucked in, and I'm just pressing my forearms into the ground. And I'm also seeing if I can straighten my legs, so I use my lower back. And exhale, release. This is working a bit more on stretch, but also strength. We're going to move a bit more into strength soon. And this is also giving those kidneys a slight massage, which hopefully is helping us balance. Also into the adrenals, giving the adrenals a little massage. Hoping perhaps get a little bit more courage to open that heart. Courage comes from the word cœur, the heart, from the Latin and the French. It takes some courage to open that heart, often in the face of difficulty. Take a break at any time in child's pose or knees to chest on your back. I'm going to continue, but do take a break if you need it. Hands just below the shoulders. Inhale, lifting up. Just notice the difference as you bring your hands back. And keep your belly on the ground. This is called Bhujangasana Cobra. So in this pose, classically, the belly remains on the ground. You want to loop the shoulders up, back, and down. Keep that chin in. I'm also using my legs by keeping my knees off the ground when I inhale. And that is an adaptation that I developed to just help stabilize the lower back. You don't have to do that. particularly good if you do have some instability in the back. This is going a little bit more into the lower back as well as upper back. Just notice that. And you're probably getting a bit warm. This is a Brahmana pose, a pose that opens you up, expands the energy. And let's take a rest. Let's go back into child's pose or knees to chest, your choice. You're welcome to fold your arms and rest your forehead on the folded arms, or use a stack of blocks or a pillow under the head. So just notice what version feels better for you. Child's pose with the arms in front is going to stretch the upper back more than if you bring your hands behind, it will round the upper back and stretch into the lower back. So just notice which one your back prefers. And again, it depends on the day. Every day is so different. Today, my body's asking me to put a block under my head, which is not my norm. But I was doing a lot of computer work today, so that's probably why. So just adjust to your day. And if it's comfortable, can you go to one side and stretch? And feel yourself going into the side body. We're going to go there next in our practice. How stretching one side of the rib cage affects your upper back, neck, and shoulders. And the other side. You might have a spot in your ribs that feels a bit tight that you're just working through right now. Back to the center. And what happened to me, which often happens, is when you come back to the center after doing those side movements, you just have more flexibility. All right, now some of you are going to need some support under your knees for where we're going next. I'm just going to go a little bit onto the knees. So most of this class I know is supine, but we're just going to do a little bit of work on the knees in cat-cow. So I welcome you to put something under your knees if you like, some sort of block. And we're going to inhale, we're going to lift the chest. And exhale, we're going to stretch the spine. So I'm just going to show this from different directions. This is probably best for you. And if you like, you can add bent elbows to this to get into that mid back. Bend your elbows parallel to each other. Drag your chest through as you inhale, exhale. Stretch and go back, if you like, to child. Inhale, lift the cat chakravakasana. Exhale, stretch and come back. In that lift apart, you could have your elbows slightly bent so that you're getting more into the mid back. Exhale, stretching the cat and drawing back to your place. Where is that? How far back do you want to go? Just keep that going. Notice where you feel this in your upper back and perhaps lower back. Again, adjusting the pose so that you're getting to the area you want to get into this evening. Just finishing up. You could have a blanket under the knees as well. You can do this standing with a chair as well. With your hands on a seat of a chair, and do it standing if your knees are really bothering you. All right, we're going to work with that shoulder again. So I'm going to bring one arm, start with your easy side underneath. And that might be your pose. So we warmed up for this earlier. And then maybe bring that top arm up as you inhale. And exhale, release. And I'm going to let my head turn as well a little bit as I move. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Now you could add a leg out the side you're on to help you get a bit more movement up. I personally really like this variation. And switching sides. So just start with threading the needle and then maybe adding that leg out and arm up. This is an add-on. You can just stay in any part of that. We've warmed up for this. And when you're complete, going to child's pose, or line your back, knees to chest, or legs up the wall. We're going to do one more on our knees before we head back to the back, no pun intended. I'm going to get you to grab your block that looks like a brick. You could use a book. You could use a pillow. I had one of my students use a cereal box for this every morning at her countertop. This is what she did before she ate breakfast. It was kind of funny. It was one of my favorite adaptations my students came up with. Anyway, holding that, and you're going to bring your elbows forward. This is usually called puppy pose. And tucking those elbows in, bringing your hips back to a place that feels good for your shoulders. If it's too much, just go into child's pose and rest. Trying to lengthen the tricep area. And just breathing here. It's pretty intense for the shoulders. And when you're ready, just coming out of it, release those hands, go back to your child's pose or line your back. And you might notice that your child's pose has changed quite a bit having done this because your back got a lot longer. So we're going to head on to the back if you're not already there. And let's just do some Urdhva Prasarita. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, knees to chest. You want to add a little bit more core work to this. Feel free on that exhale to touch the toes down ahead of you, and then draw the knees in on the exhale, hold after exhale. Your choice how muscular you want to make this, if you want it to be more flexibility or get into strength using your muscles. You can always do one leg at a time if two is too much. And you can move the opposite direction as well from legs straight, as we've worked on in other classes. Any version of this that works for you. And of course, using two legs is harder than one at a time. And just finishing up, take a rest for a moment before we move on to our last set of poses for relaxation. So we're going to do a side stretch. You're going to walk your feet to one side. Chakra Paravritti Parshva variation. So feet to one side. And then the direction your feet are at, so mine are to my right, I'm going to bring my right ankle over my left. That's an addition that may or may not work for you. You can leave your shoulders where they are, or if you can you bring your shoulders also to the same side your feet are on? And perhaps hold opposite elbows or palms together. And breathe here. This is stretching into the whole side body. This pose is also used for indigestion. You can add a hold after inhale if you want to increase that fire of the belly, if you're feeling like something's not digesting very well in your gut. We're going to go to the other side. This is also used for diabetes, for stimulating the pancreas. Switching sides, maybe adding that cross of the feet, so the side you're on. So I'm on my left foot going over my right, my shoulders also going to my left, or that might be opposite side for you. And just breathing here, notice where you feel it. Might be in the hip, might be in the upper back, might be into the leg. And when you're ready, releasing from that, just rest in the center for a moment with your legs straight or bent. It's a slight counter pose. Notice the effects of that posture in your body, breath, mind. All right, I keep seeing this pose. I think one of you wants it. So if you have a bolster, this works really well. If you don't, you can use a pillow. Could use a rolled mat or a rolled blanket. So I haven't taught this in a long time, but I have been practicing it in my own practice here and there. This one's particularly good if you have scoliosis and one side of your body is kind of sticking out, a bit more concave, but others will enjoy it for other reasons. So you're going to lie, put your rib cage under your shoulder on that bolster, and you might need some pillows or blocks under your head for comfort. That depends on you, so that might be your pose. Some of you will be able to extend that top leg out. Some of you will be able to extend that top arm in a place you can see me well here, and stretch the whole side body. It's a bit more intense than the last pose. Now, some of you might want to dance in this a little bit and move. This is the kind of yoga therapy surgery part. Be careful, you might need a big pillow under your head to do that. But if you want, you can play with that and massage the whole rib cage and pretend you're at modern dance school now because it's a bit free form. This is the Iyengar pose that I'm playing with. I'm sorry, Mr. Iyengar. This is the Iyengar pose where you just stay here and you breathe. So you can do that, or you can go to my modern dance school yoga class and move around a bit, because that can feel really, really good. Now adjust your arms until your arms help you in this pose. So I've got too much stuff around. I'm going to move here. It's definitely a pose you don't want too much stuff around in. And you might just find you want to stay. And if you've got some tightness in your top hip, you can bring that leg back a bit. Stretch into the whole side of the body, from the ribs down to the hip. So find your version, stay, move. This is very free form. And when you're ready, you're going to flip to the other side. So you can just flip your body to the other side. I'm going to move to the other side of my floor so you can see my front body, but you can just flip to your other side. So other side of your rib cage, above your waist on that bolster. Again, you might want a pillow under your head or some blocks. Otherwise, if you can rest them on your top arm if that works for you. You can extend that top leg. You could extend both legs. So that's a very classical version. I like having the bottom leg bent. And then if you want to roll around, come to the edge of your bolster area. Oh, we still have time. Excellent. And just roll. I know after class, I'm going to hear which one of you love this. I kept seeing the pose, which I know means one of your bodies wanted this. And that top leg, you can also kind of play with. So you move into a chest opener and then go back. And again, that can be pretty intense. You might need a pillow underneath your head to do this successfully. You can adjust those arms. You could for example, just bring the arm across the heart like that. Or just stay, play with that top leg, maybe stick it back a bit. How does that affect your rib cage? It's a pretty interesting pose, especially for those of you, you know, one side of your rib cage is sticking out because of scoliosis. You just stay on that side longer, and it does really help shift things. And when you've had enough of that, we are going to move into one of my favorite poses, which I do many, many days of the week when I'm having tiredness after computer work. So simple version, just lying on your pillow, your rolled mat, your rolled blanket from the top of your head down to around the base of your rib cage. Now, if you're feeling not too comfortable, add a blanket under your head. Imagine me rolling in the sides and creating a nice little nest for you, or you can do that. You could also add a pillow. I was doing it with a pillow this week in my own practice, but just to see what it was like, and it did work, a little cushion or a block under the base of that bolster. If you don't have a yoga bolstering, you might want to get one for Christmas. It is quite a lovely prop to have, but you can just use a big bed pillow, a rolled mat with blankets on top of it. That's what my first Iyengar teacher used to do. She didn't have bolsters, and then I bought her a whole bunch. She was like, you need bolsters. And just breathe here. Some of you might feel compression in your lower back doing this pose. Put a pillow underneath your lower back or a soft block. And just breathe here. Inhale into the chest, into the belly. Exhale, draw the belly in, the chest falls. Ujjayi Pranayama. Now lengthen your breath. By counting your breath. So for example, if your breath starts with 4 seconds, do 2 rounds of 4 seconds, and then the next 2, try 5. For some of you who have been with me for a while, you might want to add a hold after inhale to lift your energy for the evening. Give you a little bit of energy so that you have a bit more this evening to play with. Your hold after inhale would be half the length of your inhale as a general rule, or the same length if you want to work up to that. And just letting go of that breathing. I'm just going to bring our mantra back. And you can breathe with this. I am filled with loving kindness. I am filled with loving kindness. I am safe from all harm. I am safe from all harm. I am healthy, happy and whole. I am healthy, happy, and whole. I am filled with endless joy. I am filled with endless joy. In your own time, starting to roll off your bolster into side child's pose as the counter, one arm under your ear or pillow, blanket. Taking your own time to close. Stay a little longer if you like. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.